We're back here at Studio B. I'm with Alan Bigelow. Alan Bigelow, you're running for Las Vegas Ward 2 City Council. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And you are doing this, why?
I looked at Las Vegas. I saw the problems that we're having. It was constantly the same thing over and over again, and I was getting frustrated. So when I really sat down to look at it, and I prayed about it, and it just came down to some simple points. I want to make sure Las Vegas is taking care of our children, our grandchildren, our veterans, our seniors, and our first responders. I want to bring Las Vegas back to being a successful, way better success than it ever was before the pandemic, because it really crippled the city.
Now, you are a first responder now.
I am.
And you've been there for how long?
18 years. And I was a soldier before that. So 24 years as a soldier. I retired out of the Army. I was a cop for 4 years. And now currently serving 18 years with the fire department.
Right. And so the biggest issues facing your ward, which is kind of in the West Summerlin area. Why don't you tell me exactly the locations of what you're bordering?
So it's part of Summerlin South, and we have Angel Park, Piccoli Ranch, and Red Rock. It dips down a little bit into Las Vegas, a little bit more down to Buffalo, a couple spots. It's kind of a funky shape. It's just one of those weird things that when they did the redistricting, and they had to adjust it a little bit so it'd be fair for everybody else. And honestly, they did a really good job for Las Vegas City, because all of the wards ended up with about 104, 105,000 people. So they were within the 5% requirement by law.
Gotcha. So one of the biggest issues is obviously schools, with a lot of different things going on. What would you do to help?
Well, Las Vegas, the city council doesn't have a lot to do with the schools, but they can show up and apply pressure, like I did on April 28th when they passed a sex education program. I went and objected to it. They now are teaching in the school district from kindergarten through 12th grade sex education. And the material was absolutely offensive and pornographic, and it's the kind of thing where we had that textbook in our house, we could very easily get arrested for child porn.
Gotcha. And this is put on through the school district of Las Vegas?
Clark County.
Clark County. Clark County. Gotcha. Okay. Taxes. What's happening with taxes in Clark County, and how does that affect your ward?
Well, taxes is, I'm the only candidate in my race that has signed a no tax pledge. And I'm not going to raise taxes. There's better ways to bring taxes in on the existing programs. If we continue to develop our infill projects where we bring businesses into empty storefronts, we allow other businesses to grow. We encourage businesses like yours, Channel 25, to come into the valley and start helping out and developing more. Then we don't have to raise taxes. The taxes, we pay enough. Enough is enough. We don't need to pay more taxes. We don't need to put in a tax for this or a tax for that. It's ridiculous. Las Vegas has billions of dollars going through it every month. We already have enough money.
Gotcha. Now, you're endorsed by quite a few different individuals out there that are also running for office. You want to tell me just a little bit about some of the people that have endorsed you?
Well, I was fortunate to get my very first endorsement from Ed Goodhart, who used to be the assemblyman in District 36, as we both know him.
Yeah.
And my most recent one came from the Nevada Republican Liberty Caucus. It's a mouthful. But right there on the bottom, big endorsement from these guys. They're solid, staunch Trump Republican people. And they're out here to make things right. They're out there to support candidates that are in it for the right reasons, not because they want to be a career politician, and I absolutely don't want to be. Once I get elected, I want to do a term. If I do a good job, reelect me one more time, and then I'm going to go home. I want to go play with my grandkids.
Yeah.
They'll be old enough that there'll be a lot more fun.
I understand you have 4 right now.
4 grandkids. The latest one is just turns 7 months, and she's going to be old enough to take to Disneyland. So
Nice.
after get done taking care of the city, it's time to go play and have a good time with the kids.
So let's talk a little more in depth about what the Ward 2 and City Council has a direct response to the citizens and action committees for your area. What will you be doing in that ward to help the community?
Well, the ward is going through an expansion right now, and it's expanding out into the Far Hills 215 area. We have another approximately 200,000 residents that are expected to move into that area, and we need to make sure that things are going progressively correct. We need to make sure we have the infill, of course, we mentioned. We need to make sure we have the infrastructure, which is more than just police and fire. It talks about where, we have the water, we have the police, of course, and the fire department, the public services that are necessary, the power, and of course, responsible growth.
Mm-hmm.
We just can't throw 200,000 people into the desert and not expect to have some problems. And so we have to manage that appropriately. And that's where you have staff that works with planning commission, and you have staff that works with the utility companies and things like that. And then you're able to bring it in a way that makes sense, because that's the biggest trick right there, is making it make sense. If an area is designed for 200,000 people and you're going to throw 300,000 people in there, you just overtaxed every resource you had. So you got to make sure it fits. You got to make sure the housing fits. You got to make sure the businesses fit. In that area, it's going to need another hospital just because of the population density. And that's another thing that I'm looking at is, where can we put another hospital? So a lot of growth and a lot of projection of prosperity is a great thing for the city of Las Vegas. But we also got to take care of those smaller needs for businesses, those smaller needs for schools, those smaller needs for transportation. Where are we going to put the transportation corridors in? Where are we going to put the bus stops? Where are we going to do parking lots and grocery stores? And all of those other things have to go into that. And that's a big thing, because under the 2050 plan for Las Vegas, there is a very specific residential design that's being adopted for each different area, and it fits really well. So we have to make sure that we follow that. And if we make an exception for it, we have to make sure that it's not something that's going to really tax the system that we already have in place, for lack of a better word. We don't want to overextend it to the point where it becomes a problem.
How many times a month does the city council meet over there?
They meet twice a month, and they have their other smaller boards, whether it's tourism or whether it's planning or whether it's permitting or whatever the case is, out throughout the month. But they usually meet twice a month.
And where do you see yourself falling in those different special committees?
I'm actually looking forward to doing a couple of them. I want to work with, of course, the first responders, because it's a good spot for me. I have a lot of experience in there. I want to work with the planning commission, because I do have a background in construction as a side business, and the real estate development. And I've been working with that for the past couple of years during COVID as a notary for title companies. So I've been out seeing the programs that are working, and so I feel very comfortable working in that. Budget-wise, I'm pretty good in that area too, because in the military, I managed a multi-million-dollar budget. So adding another zero to a budget is really not that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm. And how do you tie in to the water district over in Ward 2? What's your direct relationship with the Las Vegas Water District?
Well, the water district is actually a water co-op.
Okay.
And so they're managing the water in Lake Mead as much as they can. Our take on that water supply isn't near what it could have been. And the reason it's not is because Las Vegas wasn't viewed as an agricultural area. So the need, when they established the water authority for the lake, wasn't as much as it should have been. So now we have to go back and renegotiate some of that. Now we have to look at other ways to conserve. One of those ways Las Vegas is looking at conserving is removing all unneeded grass. And what they're talking about is like grass in the median on the roadways, or grass that separates the road from a sidewalk, in order to save that water. And as long as we continue with a very progressive conservation program, we should be okay according to what the water authority has said.
Mm-hmm. What would you say basically in regards to how important it is to elect Alan Bigelow?
Well, I'm a native to Las Vegas. I'm a veteran. I'm a firefighter. I've been tested by fire. I've been tested in the courts. I have stood up and seen the progress from Las Vegas from 1963, when it was 60,000 people here. I've watched the growth. I've watched the mistakes. I can tell them when they're coming. I've seen it. My family lives here. I'm 4 generations deep into this city. Bottom line in all of this is really simple, though. I'm your neighbor, and I'm accountable to you. And I answer my own phone.
You do?
I do.
All right. Very good. Well, appreciate you coming over here to Studio B here in Las Vegas. and wish you all the luck.
Thanks.
How do they reach you?
It's really simple. AlanWard2Vegas.com is the website. The phone number is 702-427-5656. And the email is alanward2vegas@gmail.com. And like I said, I answer my own phone, and usually I'm awake until about 10 o'clock at night. So after that, a little bit of break.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thanks for coming out today.
Thanks.
We
man.
appreciate you being over here.
I appreciate you having me.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see Studio B kicking off hard.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'm super proud of your expansion here.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
And honestly, I'm proud to have been a part of the history of Channel 25.
Yeah, you've been around for a long time, Alan. So that's really cool. And this is not your first go around for political either. I mean,
no, it's a second round,
Yeah.
and this is totally humbling.
Yeah, gotcha. Well, thanks for your time.
Thanks.
You bet.